great things are not done with just a feeling, and with great things have to have a source of a lot of great things already existing in your mind. It is not very easy to just tell a layman great things come from meditation, you go to the field. No, there is a source of where all great things come from, and that you have to feed that first.
Bitter today, dude. We're going to this Vietnamese place, La Dong. My buddy says it's great banh mi sandwiches, so we'll see what they come up with. Hey, we got an order for pickup. We are on our way to Sam Adoquei's studio right now. He's one of the most inspiring artists I've ever met. If I told you how I met him, you wouldn't believe me. He's a great guy, and he's kind of been a bit of a mentor for me lately. And I'm bringing you along for some conversations that we have on artists and creativity and purpose. But we gotta buy some, we gotta get some waters here. I met Sam at a time in my life when I was starting to ask myself questions about purpose and responsibility as an artist. Coming from the world of short form video, I was starting to feel like it wasn't just about the work, it was about the why behind it. Okay, buddy. You hungry?
Yeah, how did it go?
We got food,
We got food,
you got water, and we're getting ready to go.
We have our heads. So
we have our heads, yeah. What Boethius would say, we have our minds.
Yeah.
I've had these conversations with Sam for many hours here in his studio in New York City. It was an honor and privilege when he agreed to let me film some of these conversations. I'm excited to pull back the curtain on the mentor-mentee relationship. There's no finish line in this game. The following is a conversation from our first episode of Fast Food for Thought. I think intensity, though, stems from passion and the drive to create great things.
Yes.
When I get intense about things, this is an intense setup for a first-time video.
Yeah.
It is overkill.
Yeah.
But I want to make a great video.
It should be overkill.
It's a form of self-respect as well.
Respect this
to you and to me.
And duty too.
Yeah.
It's duty. It should work. It should. And also sometimes intensity also stems from the idea that, hey, we're serious, let's do it. You are aware of the environment and you want to make sure it stays what will represent you well.
So one of the books I've been reading that I took a lot out of was Tony Robbins' book, Unlimited Power, and talks about how to get into a state to produce great things.
Yeah.
Part of the process is getting you to a state to create.
Yeah. Great things are not done with just a feeling. And with great things have to have a source of a lot of great things already existing in your mind. Like I cannot go there and say, I'm going to go and create great writing. I have to have read a couple of great writings. I have to have read a couple of techniques. I have to. So it is not very easy to just tell a layman, great things come from meditation, you go to the field. No. Production comes from knowledge, wisdom, time, history, and all the accumulation of what has been done in that technique already. So Sam is not, he comes from Africa, he has some struggles here and there, and that's why, no. I still pay my dues by knowing all the great painters out there, knowing all the great writers out there. This idea of just go meditate, yes, meditation is good. Yes, if you have great, I do that every time. Yes, they are all very good, but there is a source of where all great things come from, and that you have to feed that first. So,
okay, we gotta eat.
Yeah,
man.
Let's go for it.
Our filmmaker is hungry. Okay, so what do we got here? We got classic. We got some roll, and then of course you got to keep your videographer happy.
Yeah. Before he cuts off cross my hands off and cross.
Before he goes delete. I was gonna say too, the problem with fast food. This is not technically fast food.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I believe that anything that we are packing from the restaurant to home is a fast food. Very good.
Okay, so, who are you?
Who am I? It's often very hard to say who am I because how people see me is very different from how I see myself. But I like to think I am the artist who have really gathered a lot of from experience, from life, from journeys, from travels, from people, from students, I've gathered enough information that I hope to be of help to anyone who is trying to make the same journey.
And you've been painting, how long you been painting?
That's the only life I've known.
Yeah. That's how I first met you. I read your book.
Yeah.
And it was at a time where creatively I was starting to ask questions of myself that I didn't know the answers to. And one of the questions was mainly around purpose and responsibility. And that is, when you have a platform or you're a great artist, how can you have an impact on people, a real impact? Or is it as much as just saying, come to the top of the mountain and say, this is what I believe, and that's that?
No, not really. The thing is, if you're a true artist, like you, what you're doing, you go through life of doing the thing. You go through experiences. You go through both up and down. So by the time you go through all that, you will be rewarded. Nature, God, or whatever name you call it, nature will reward you with certain wisdom. And then it is left to you to share that wisdom with people or not. Some people will sit on their wisdom. Some people go and write books. Some people make films. But in the end, you don't just want to help people because you want to. You have to have answers for people's questions. You have to have answers for people's problems. You have to have.
One of the things that you said that was was being in servitude of people.
In servitude of people, yeah.
And I think I started to have success professionally accidentally by serving people. That is when I noticed, oh, you have the most impact. This is where most people like that. This is what the natural state is of helping others when you don't need to.
Yeah. The thing is, we are all here for a reason. We are all here for a purpose. We are all gifted with something, to do something. The videographer is gifted by filming. You are gifted by sharing what you experience in restaurants and in food. I am gifted by...
hopefully a little bit more than that.
I don't want to get into trouble here. We don't know what we have been gifted. Whatever we have been gifted with, do it well.
But how do you find that? Because here, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I worked at a bank for 10 years, and not that I wasn't inspired, it was a fine job.
Yeah.
But I only truly felt like I was living when my bliss and purpose, it aligned with what I do. I didn't say one day, oh, I'm going to find my purpose.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. I backed into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm somebody, how do I find that purpose?
What happened is, because of modern life, people will put their purpose down for other person's purpose. So if we listen to ourselves, if we are very honest, if we go to bed and then wake up in the middle of the night and think of what do you really, really want to do, you'll be surprised. Sometimes I will recommend that do a couple of things and do them halfway, and then in a week later, see what you remember.
I agree.
Chances are, if you do a couple of things, you will remember some, and you will not remember some, which means that the ones you remember are the things that you must follow.
Well, I think that goes back to right now, the state of the world is very much, you have to do something and you have to make money from it. And you have
to survive.
How to survive, which is this constraint that we put on ourselves. And it's the system that we live in. Doing things, exploring avenues, and then saying, for me with social media at least, was, oh, now I have this is what I really like.
Yeah.
Because you try a bunch of things, but you're not trying them to be I'm going to be a professional musician.
Yeah.
You're just trying some stuff.
The thing, even in painting, it's very, very difficult to come into painting and say, I want to be a professional painter. No, you can't. You have to try things first. You have to try, and then the things that resonate with you are the things you will find yourself always gravitating to. I never went into art school in the beginning to become a professional artist. Nowadays, I think it is, I wouldn't say it is wrong until you are hit with that passion to do one thing, give yourself a chance to try a couple of things first. Unless you are really, really like, oh, Sam, I cannot do anything. But then I will say to you, I will ask two things from, will you immerse yourself into it? Will you devote your time to it? Will you be loyal to that thing?
The next logical step is once you get good at something,
Yeah.
proficient at something,
Yeah.
that's when my next question to you was what's your responsibility now to others?
Yeah.
Because we spoke earlier about that concept of, oh, well, you don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
And you say to that,
That's a selfish life to live. If you think you don't owe, we all owe life. We owe the people we live with. We owe the friends we owe our family. So, if you start with that selfish attitude, I don't owe anything, I don't create for anybody. Chances I will say, oh, maybe you are not aware of the reasons why you have been gifted, and maybe you should actually know that the only reason why you have your gift is you've been gifted to a certain part of, you've been gifted with a certain talent that is uniquely yours so that you can serve a certain purpose. And you should be worried about the purpose and the gift more so than me.
but when you're talking about creating and the origin of inspiration, I often find I make my best art when I don't care about who's viewing it.
Yeah.
Even though I know other people will enjoy it, but I'm not making it because I know other people will enjoy it. Does that make sense?
It makes sense where you might not be, I think it makes lots of sense. Mostly, it makes a lot of sense. But sometimes you have to understand that your education, your upbringing, your life had led you to a point where you are cautious of why you must do things. So today you might say, oh, I do it for myself. But you have loyalty, you have concern, you like people, you want to do things. You don't, if you don't care what you do, believe me, you put your videos under your bed.
Yeah.
That's what I tell painters. If you don't want anybody to look at it, then why show it? Why do you even want to have it? So the fact that we want people to look at our work, it means that there's a side of us that you are using your art to change and help people. So not that because of pride and ego I do it myself, or not. If somebody says you have to do it for people, it's not a demeaning thing. It's actually a noble life to live. Like I will say to power is not given to us, or talent is not given to us so that we can be proud of it. No, it's given to us so that we can use it wisely. And we are the only one who can use that talent wisely.
The last topic I want to talk about is finding passion. And that is, I have found passion accidentally, and I've also found passion, people find passion, we spoke about it earlier, of you try all these different things and you fall in love with one, maybe painting, maybe art, maybe video, and you do it. And one day you decide, maybe I can make a career out of this. But we live in a society where you have to make money.
Of course.
And how do you so all of a sudden your art, when I say I don't care about who watches my art, well, now I do.
Yes, of course.
Because I need more people to watch my art.
Of course.
Because that means I can make.
You can buy Sam Adoquei more bread.
You know how much this videographer cost me, man? Like, this is crazy.
Of course.
I'm just kidding.
No. It's nice. But the thing is, what artists do, or what most talented people do, that goes so much against anti-survival, is they underestimate what it takes to be good. So they enter into a field with no competitive edge. They enter into a field where thousands and thousands and thousands of people are in it, and they have the same skill. If you want to make a living in your field, treat it like how doctors treat their profession. Get to the field when you are already have some certain kind of edge. You cannot make a living in art if all what you provide, hundreds of thousands of people can do. This is students, they paint 2-3 years and they think they're good enough to go and make a living. How could you put 2-3 years in medicine and think you are excellent enough just because there are some rich people who doesn't know what they're looking for and they will just credit you with some junk, let's take a musician. A musician comes to New York, wants to become a rock star, doesn't know the competition they have, doesn't know the best musicians around, doesn't know the techniques they use, doesn't know anything, but yet you want to be on a stage. The myth of the starving artist syndrome, yes, luck counts, yes, a lot of things will come, but be aware that it's a competitive field.
Yeah.
Be aware that you have Instagram where you can flip thousands and thousands of artists within an hour. Be aware that they are your competition. Prepare yourself. I think most people can make it in the arts if they prepare or if they respect it enough. I sometimes believe it's a disrespect to a field that you want to do well in, but you don't want to give it your best.
Yes, agree.
I think it's a disrespect to a field that you want to survive in,
Yeah.
but yet you want to give it only a second-hand Sunday painter's attitude.
Once you find your bliss and
Yeah.
it gets aligned, it pours out of you.
Of course.
In fact, what you always allude to making timeless art of like, actually then the job then becomes, how can I be focused?
Yeah.
And say, have the most impact.
Of course.
And you know, instead of just pumping out video, how
Of
can I
course.
really make a project worth
course.
watching?
Of course. Most talents sometimes get eluded with what being an artist is and what realistic life is and then what the jungle is and then the competition. Being an artist is very easy. I do what I want. I behave what I want. No.
Okay, so for next session,
Yeah.
you got to give me some homework.
Oh, for next session, I think you should maybe read the book on the book of Job. It's the greatest book ever written. It's a biblical book, but the story is too good to see it as a biblical book. And then Seneca letters to Lucilius.
Okay.
Lucilius. Seneca's letter. These books, the book of Job will help you understand that the purpose you have, the gift you've been given, will face some challenges. And the challenges that will come, that's where the book will help you to endure with the challenges. Lucilius' book of Seneca, it's a Seneca writing a letter to a mentee. Most people believe that it's a Seneca who, by writing techniques, make his own mentee and wrote to the mentee. Whatever it is, it's an advice to young, what you have to do, the realistic aspect of life, how things are, the world you have to deal in, the people you have to work with. So it's one of the, it's very easy to read, okay? So these two books are great books to read. And then when the next show we do, we'll talk about the book and other aspects of.
And get some burgers.
And get some burgers and maybe you are surviving in New York City with your talent.
All right. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, what do we think?